Got it.
Okay.
We can see your screen also.
One sec.
Just a few
Yes,
minutes,
you
huh?
can. Okay. Yes.
Sir, you are in the edit mode. Can you make it a slide share mode?
Slide share mode. How do I do slide?
Yeah, it has come.
No, still it is in edit mode.
No, you have to magnify the screen, I think.
You have to choose slideshow.
Yeah, I got it. Is it coming up?
Yeah, it is coming up, but on the right side also, the notes portion is coming.
Look, this is the presenter's view, actually, what you are seeing. But actually, we should
get the full screen, no?
full screen for us. Yeah, now that is okay. Now, only thing is we need to magnify the screen, I think, because see, there is a big square, no? After, near the cross, right? Right at the top corner, you see a cross, right?
Yeah.
And next to that, there is a magnify option. We need to magnify that. Next to cross, on the left side, there is a square, right?
Right top, sir. Right top.
Right top, a cross. Next to that, there is. Ilama is on slideshow already. Oh, okay. No, that is because he has chosen the presenter's view. You need to go and choose the, what do you call, slideshow, not the presenter's view.
I did slideshow only. And,
no, slideshow, but it is on the, this one, from beginning, that is okay. Can I just go to, set up slideshow?
I'm sorry, I'm not able to get.
No, otherwise okay. This is okay, sir. On the left side, matto konja shrink panningla. The vertical bar actually, yeah.
Can previous present?
You can just move it a little bit, you can.
Sir, illana previous present pannatuma. You can talk and previous can run the show.
File, sir.
No, we don't have his presentation.
Oh, okay.
It always go to the other screen. So what I have to do is 1 minute. Can you see now?
No, sir, you are still on the presenter's view. See, this is for you to present so that the people, you can see what is coming up next. So that is in this mode. Okay.
Okay. So
1 second. Show media control, play narration.
Let me.
Okay.
Can you see this?
I got it, sir. Just below the monitor. Okay. Below the Acrobat, right? You can see the help menu. You can see the help right at the top.
No, now it is okay, sir.
Use as presenter view, but
Okay. Now can you see?
Yeah, now it is okay.
Is it okay? Yeah. So let me move on if this is okay with you.
Just you can move the slide one. Can you just move the slide there?
Sir, இன்னொன்னு பண்ணலாம் சார். Actually, quickly இந்த மானிட்டர்ஸ் இருக்கு இல்லையா, மேல டாப் லெவல்ல மெனு இருக்கு இல்லையா, ஹெல்ப், வியூ, ஹெல்ப், அக்ரோபாட் அது இருக்கு இல்லையா, அங்கதான் கீழே கம் டவுன். there is a use presenter view.
Yeah, monitor.
இல்ல அது கீழே
User presentation.
அதை unclick பண்ணுங்க. அதை click பண்ணுங்க. It should go.
Okay.
Yeah, now it should be okay. Yeah.
Now are you able to get the full thing?
Done. No.
Okay.
இல்ல இப்ப ஸ்லைட் ஷோ போயிடுங்க.
I've now gone to slideshow.
Yeah, I think this is okay. Yeah, that is the other slide is gone now. Yes, you can start.
Okay.
Can you move the slides? Can you just move the slides?
Can you, I've moved to the next
move a bit. One or two slides moves. Okay. Okay, sir.
You're getting everything okay?
Yeah, you can. Yeah, fine.
You're all right. You're all right.
Let me move on.
Yeah, okay,
Is it
okay. We'll start, sir. Just 1 minute.
Okay.
Huh? Okay. Greetings and good evening to one and all. On behalf of the organizing units ACM Chennai, IEEE Computer Society Madras, and CSI Chennai, I extend a warm welcome to our today's eminent speaker, Professor V. Lakshmi Narasimhan, members and my colleagues from the organizing units, and all the participants who have joined the Google Meet meeting, and those who are watching this session through YouTube streaming. Many of us assume that language is an art. However, over the past 20 years, languages have become scientific through the use of statistical science, which is engineered with various algorithms and software systems in order to make them into easily adaptable linguistic technologies. What this means is that languages are not analyzed for the traditional art form in terms of the structure, grammar, humor, style, and the like. Instead, brute force statistical techniques are used for analysis of linguistic structures, including for humor. Many linguistic algorithms have been designed along with artificial intelligence and machine learning techniques in order to glean content, intent, and others. Easily adaptable technological systems are being built to automate analysis of various types and their induction into various systems. In this talk, Professor Lakshmi Narasimhan will allude to some of the techniques, of course, without much of mathematics, that are being used by deep and shallow learning linguistic systems, such as in Twitter, Facebook, RapidMiner, Amazon Comprehend, Chattermill, etc. Such software systems are being used for a wide variety of commercial, defense, industrial, and other applications, including analysis of religious texts such as Bible. He will also illustrate profiling systems for people, diseases, artworks, etc. And further, his work on legal technology systems. Further, he will briefly raise issues relating to legal, ethical, and moral, which abound this area. Professor indirectly warns that some aspects of today's talk are sensitive in nature. So anyhow, let us wait and see. We are all used to sensitive contents and we want to debate on those things. With this brief welcome, let me have the pleasure of introducing our Professor VLN. He is fondly called VLN. Though his full name is V. Lakshmi Narasimhan, so we call him VLN. He is not new to us. He has been associated with Computer Society and IEEE for almost 15 years. He has personally given quite a few talks at CSI Taramani office. And of course, earlier also he has given some webinars to us. Professor Narasimhan is presently a professor of the Department of Computer Science, Georgia Southern University at Georgia, USA. He was a senior vice president, Shikar Associates International Incorporation, a non-profit organization, and the chief technical officer of Ms. Gill LLC, California, USA. Professor Narasimhan has published over 480 papers, and we wish him the magic number 500 very soon in this area of data science, AI, software engineering, information security, and information engineering and related case studies extensively. His papers have appeared in archival journals such as IEEE Transactions and IEEE Proceedings. His research interests include artificial intelligence, data science, computer architecture, parallel and distributed computing, software testing, data mining, software process, asset management systems and standards, and information management and fusion, and the extensive case studies and performance evaluation. In fact, a wide variety of interests he has got. He has also been the technical chair of 2 major conferences and has been on the technical panel of over 80 leading international conferences. Most of them are organized by IEEE, ACM, and some of the well-known technical associations and universities. Professor Lakshman Simhan has won competitive research funding to the tune of $8 billion US. He has consulted a number of industries and educational institutions on various IT and software engineering projects, including Boeing Aerospace and Department of Defense. Professor Narasimhan is a senior member of IEEE and ACM, fellow of ACS and IE Australia and IEE UK. He is a technical member of various standards bodies such as ISO, ANSI, MIMOSA, and IEEE. Professor Lakshman Narasimhan is an IEEE distinguished visitor as well as an ACM distinguished speaker. Additionally, he is a commissioner at ABET, the standards body of education. With this welcome note and briefing on today's talk and the introduction of the speaker, let me now invite Professor Lakshman Narasimhan to take over and enlighten us on the debatable topic on language. Over to Professor Lakshman Narasimhan.
Thank you, Mohan, and thank you to the various societies, CSI, ACM, IEEE of India, for sponsoring this talk. My title is deliberately somewhat contentious. Is language...
Can you slightly lower your screen so that we can see your face? Now your face is cut. Yeah. Yeah. I think you've gone out of your disabled video. Sir, you're muted. Please unmute, sir. Yeah.
Can you see my video now?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Fine.
Okay. So as I was mentioning, I want to thank Mr. Mohan and also the various societies that sponsored this talk. And for the people behind the scenes who do the streaming of the talk in YouTube and various other technical people, I want to thank you. Now, I chose a little bit contentious talk. The title is language art, science, technology, or engineering? Now, interestingly, for a long time, if you ask, is language, what is language? And most people will say, language is art. Okay, and indeed, all language departments are associated with the Faculty of Art in all colleges. Indeed, we have in India, Arts College, okay, and Arts and Science College. And then engineering colleges, they have very small art faculty, okay. So language is essentially art in the past. So now I'm going to prove within quotes, okay. So forgive me for those linguists who feel offended. Okay, so I'm going to prove within quotes that languages are becoming science, technology, and guess what? They are becoming engineering as well. Okay, so let us see. Can you see the next slide?
Yes, sir.
Oh, great. Now, setting the context, many people assume that, so I'm not going to debate it. Are they? I'm going to argue that languages are indeed science and technology. No, they are actually engineering. Being an engineer, I should support engineers. Okay, so, and that's not me, that's George Washington. That some of the projects that I'm going to describe here may have to do with my work in the Department of Defense. But not to worry, I will try my best to sanitize and give you the results. Now, why I am giving the talk? Yes, I want to seek collaborators. Yes, in order to do further research, submit papers and proposals, etc. Okay, so please feel free to contact me. My email is there at the first slide, and it's also with your Dr. Mr. Mohan and other people. Okay, now is English an art? Okay, the word grammar came from glamour. Okay, so what this means is glamour is beauty, isn't it? So when you beautify English through something, and then that is called grammar. Okay, that is how the word grammar originated. It originated from glamour. And English is no longer an art. Why? Because here is something interesting. Okay, I could not believe what I was seeing. Okay, I could not believe what I was seeing. The page was riddled with hieroglyphics, many of which I simply could not translate. The teacher told the newspaper. And the girl's essay began like that. Okay, my whatever. What the heck is that? I don't know. Okay, so which in translation from text messaging shorthand would read, my summer holidays were a complete waste of time. Before we used to go to New York to see my brother, his girlfriend, and the three screaming kids face to face. I love New York. It's a great place. And all these things have been caught in this sentence. Okay. Now, where is spelling? Where is grammar? Nothing. They are all gone. Okay. So Judith Gillespie of the Scottish Parent-Teacher Council told the newspaper a decline in grammar and written English was partly linked to the text messaging craze. I think a lot of us in the audience will agree with that, okay, as well. So pupils think orally and write phonetically. Okay, indeed, Bahasa Malay spelling is actually based on phonetic English spelling. Okay, so for example, it means soup, S-O-U-P, is there. It is called S-U-P, soup. Okay, so interestingly, there appears to be grammatical rules within quotation for SMS English too, and they appear in this particular website. Okay, this address may not make people from the arts and linguistic background happy, but that's okay. People have been using statistics for a long time to understand languages. We'll see some of that. Technology, particularly computing technology, had a major impact on languages. Now, engineering, particularly software engineering and information engineering, is having a big impact on languages. We will see how the history of languages have changed from arts to engineering. Of course, we will try to use very little mathematics as possible, because I'm assuming an audience who is generic engineers, okay, and maybe non-engineers as well. Okay, so attendees are warned that some aspects of the talk are sensitive. Only, I think, the next slide. Okay, right? No, the one after that. The flow of the talk is as follows: some embarrassing questions in English, some answers to how I know the answers, and then 2 slides on statistics, and then some NLP task, relevance of engineering to NLP, and what one can glean from social networks, and commonly and frequently occurring abuses, positive aspects of social network, and a few advanced concepts and some conclusions. Now, but before that, how do you feel if I tell you that I know the answers to the following sample questions? How do you feel if I tell you that I know your period dates for women? Even you may not know how. Okay, there is actually a class action suit against Facebook in US Supreme Court now. Okay, and how would I feel if I tell you that I know you underwent an abortion recently? There is a case in Lincoln, Nebraska, August 2022, only last year. Okay, less than a year. Indeed, a prosecution was also made. Okay, how would you feel if I tell you about your erectile dysfunction issues? This is for men. Okay. How do I tell you? How do you feel if I know that you had a breast cancer, Parkinson's disease, Alzheimer's, schizophrenia, heart and lung problem, diabetes, hip problems? Ooh, how do I know all these things about every individual? Okay. Now, let me tell you the first one. How do I feel if I tell you that I know your period? I collect data from Facebook, WhatsApp, emails, and other social sites about you. Okay. I linguistically process your words after doing stemming and stopping. I do some statistical analysis. I do some pattern analysis. In this case, that which relates to period related words. I figure out your dates with better accuracy than yourself. Okay. Indeed, it is said that during the PMS period, okay, premenstrual syndrome, they call it, women's vocabulary changes. Okay, so they are trying to capture it. Okay, there are software and even hardware architecture available to process your data without you ever knowing. How Facebook did is very interesting. Facebook paid some $1,000 to 1,000 women and sought permission to download 6 months of their data, which, yeah, somebody gives $1,000 and yeah, I'll say, yeah, use my data. Okay, so everybody signed up. Facebook called for 2 follow-up meetings too. Excellent food and divine drinks were provided, and lots of innocuous data sets were collected. Okay, and Facebook analyzed their words and cross-correlated with their data. Bingo, they got all their details correctly. Now, how do they find out? A bunch of women who were working in the same organization, they were just having a morning cup of coffee, and during the conversation, one of them mentioned, I get, good messages, okay, periodically from Facebook, and it is very useful. Now I know when to buy feminine products, okay? So, and it is a good reminder, okay? And the other ladies also said, oh yeah, I also get it. Unfortunately, one of the ladies' husband happens to be a lawyer. And when he got the thing, he said, gee, that should not happen. And then slowly the message passed around, and finally they filed a class action. Now, interestingly, the US Chief Justice of the Supreme Court of US said that we are still in the Magna Carta days, namely in the 12th century, when it comes to legal issues that apply to the internet. Okay, so the Chief Justice has issued a notice saying that, to people like you, saying that, please tell us, please give a contribution to us as to how to change the laws. Okay, laws are so that the laws will be relevant to the internet age. Okay, now there is also another app which tracks the period. Okay, a lot of women download it and they use it. Okay, now what happened is that the cops, the police in Nebraska, Lincoln, Nebraska, in USA, they are monitored. By the way, in the state of Nebraska, abortion is illegal. Illegal. If you are caught, then you go to jail. Okay. Now, they were monitoring the app of a particular lady who was pregnant, and then she started getting periods. And then they said, that means you should have carried out an abortion on yourself. So they booked a case against that. Now, the ethics of it, that's a separate talk. The moral of it, the moral of that is also a separate talk. Okay, but it's a real thing. The case has been registered as of 18th August 2022. Okay, how do we feel about it? And how did they go about doing it? How did they know that the woman is now starting to have a period? And previously she was pregnant, and so she didn't have a period. Now she is starting to have a period. That means she has undergone an abortion. So therefore, she has committed a crime, and so they booked a case against her. Okay, all through computational linguistics. Okay, whether it is the legality, ethics, and morality of that, that's a separate talk. Okay. Now, the same thing about how do I tell men whether they had erectile dysfunction or not? Okay. Now, it also involves linguistics, okay, computational linguistics, but the processing of men's data is vastly different from the processing of women's data. Do you know why? Women tend to talk about their problems and they share their problems with other women. Okay. Men, on the other hand, they don't want to share. Okay. So indeed, the way in which the women share, people, sociologists and anthropologists have identified that women usually share their medical problems with their close friends or relatives. And now what that means is that they also seek solutions. So women tend to attend to their problems, on average, I'm talking, medical problems better. And they attend to their problems and they also work with them. And so that's why women live longer than men. Men, on the other hand, they don't discuss their problem with their colleagues at all, or their relatives or friends at all. Indeed, men do exactly opposite. They brag instead. Okay, so a man might have erectile dysfunction, but he's still bragging that he can handle 7 women in over a day. Okay, that's simple bragging. Okay, so the degree of bragging is inversely proportional to the problem. Okay, the more the bragging, usually it means the person has got serious problem. Okay, so men's data analytics is very different than the women's data analytics. Okay, so there seems to be some gender biases as well. So I don't know about other kinds of people. Okay, so I know male and female, but then there are other types of genders as well. And by the way, Finnish language has got some 32 different gender connotations as well. Okay. And now I'm going to put 2 slides on what shall I say, the statistics. Okay, so I tried to minimize the number of equations. Okay, Zipf's law. Zipf's law is a well-known law. It's an empirical law. It states that given some corpora, okay, of natural language utterances, the frequency of any word is inversely proportional to the rank in the frequency. Rank in the frequency table. So what this means is very simple. The most frequent word will occur approximately twice often as the second most frequency word, 3 times as often as the third most frequency word, okay, etc. Okay, so for example, in the Brown corpus, which is a very popular corpus of American English text, the word the is the most frequently occurring word, and by itself accounts for 7% of the word occurrences. Out of the, it has got an occurrence of about nearly 70,000 in 1 million words in the Brown corpus. Right. So, of course, the second place is the word of, and is the third place, blah, blah. Okay, so next. So you can put most easily observed by plotting, the Zipf's law is most easily observed by plotting the data on a log-log graph. Okay, and there are some equations for that. we don't want to see the equations, and I can complicate the equation also. Okay? So the trouble with mathematicians and engineers are that given a simple equation, they know how to make it complicated. Okay, so basically the law exhibits a graph like that. Okay, and let us make it even simpler. Okay, the principle of least effort is another possible explanation that Zipf himself proposed, that neither speakers nor hearers using a given language want to work any harder than necessary to reach understanding. And the process that results is approximately equal to the Zipf's distribution. What this means is that people want to use simple words. Okay, so the more complex is the word, the longer the word, very few people use it, except maybe Shashi Tharoor. I don't know. Okay, so the more uncommon a word and the longer the word, we tend to use them very, very infrequently. Okay, now does Zipf's law apply to women? Yeah, psychologists say that women speak twice as many words as men in a given day, and perhaps it applies to them too. And another interesting feature is Zipf's law seems to hold good even for non-natural languages such as Esperanto. Esperanto is a created language after Spanish. It came from Spanish, but in Esperanto also Zipf's law seems to hold good. So my promise is valid, no more mathematics, but suffice to tell you that I can put equations. And all those statistical equations, I can bring it in, right from hidden Markov model to various kinds of things I can bring it in. I can bring in various coefficients such as Pearson coefficient, Kutais coefficient, and some another 100 different coefficients in order to do analysis. Okay. Now, using Zipf's law, one can identify the language. For example, average word length in English is 4.7 characters. Average word length in French is this. Mongolian, Indonesian is 2.6. Okay. So if you have a document, by simply doing brute force statistical analysis, okay, of counting the word length, I can tell you which language the document is without even knowing. So I'm just going to Romanize it, and then I'm going to tell. By the way, just for curiosity, average word length in Rigveda is 7.85 phonemes. Now, in Indic languages, a phoneme equals a character, okay, but not in Romanic languages. In English, for example, the letters don't correspond to phoneme, whereas Indic languages are very, very nice. And of course, there are words in Rigveda which are 48 phonemes, okay, characters long, okay. The average word length in various languages is available in this website. And what is the average phoneme length in various spoken languages? So word length is different from phoneme length. Not much work has been done on phoneme length. Okay, so it can be done with a voice stat. Now, do you think language ID, speaker ID, gender ID, by ID I mean identification, okay, length of passes, backgrounds, reverberation, they call it. So the background noise, all these details would be useful? I would think so. What would be their purpose? Okay, so if you understand a voice cut, can you figure out from all these details something about what is happening? I'm not talking about the content of the voice cut, okay, or the voice stamp. I simply do language ID, speaker ID, gender ID, all those details. And based on that, I'm able to glean some information, a lot of information. Okay. And on top of it, I do content analysis as well. Then you can do wonders. Okay. Now, here is another example. Many people know J.K. Rowling. Okay. Who is she? She is the one who wrote Harry Potter books. Okay, so, but she has also written non-Harry Potter books too, such as the Casual Vacancy, Cormoran Strike Detective Series, and Very Good Lives, etc., etc. Now, what has happened is, a professor in UK exposed her. Okay, by that what I mean is, he actually told that these books were written by J.K. Rowling. And Rowling said, no. And she filed a case against the professor in the English court. And guess what? The good professor of mathematics and computer science, who else, came out with mathematics and all the statistical analysis of her books, and she explained that she only could have written it because she has a certain flavor of choice of words, choice of phrases, etc., choice of sceneries, etc., that she does in Harry Potter books. And similar kind of things are being used in others. And then he said, I've now compared her work with other people, and the similarity is so much that she's the one who should have authored these books as well. Of course, Miss Rowling withdrew the case later. Now, if you take the books of Shakespeare, okay, can you figure out the order of writing of his works? Which one is Merchant of Venice precedes Tempest or any other book? Okay, so what is the order in which Shakespeare wrote the books? Very interestingly, English language changes over a period of time. Even during Shakespeare's life itself, there are words which have come in. Okay, now, for example, if you look at the 16th century English, the word fellow means very bad. Fellow is a very bad word because the word fellow originates from felon. Felon means you are a crook. Okay, so fellow means you are same type. Okay, but now we have fellows of IEEE, fellows of ACM, fellows of CSI as well. Okay, so the word meaning has completely changed. Okay, so by looking at the choice of words that Shakespeare has used and their approximate period, you can then order the works of Shakespeare and state that he started with The Tempest and various other things. Okay. Now, interestingly, even the Bible you can classify. There are Bibles written by Paul, Luke, Peter, Moses, etc. Okay, so we did some work on that. I'm not a Christian, but it's a text. So I can work on the text in a statistical sense. And I had a very good English professor with whom I worked with as my colleague. And their narrative styles are different. Okay, and Peter and Paul do not seem to agree 36% of the time. Wonder why? It's not because Peter and Paul disagreed. Okay, it is because by the time I think Peter came first, Paul came later. Okay, so by the time Paul came, some of the words their meanings have changed. Okay, so that is one of the reasons for the disagreement. There seems to be some genuine disagreement as well, but that is okay. Okay, and by the way, there is one religion which does not permit interpretations and translations of the holy book. I will let you to guess what that religion is. So, QED, okay, language is now a science because I am now starting to use mathematics. Mathematics is construed to be science, and indeed, I'm using statistical mathematics. Okay, so I've now proved, within quotes, that language is no longer an art because it used to be art during the Shakespeare time and later. But now, with the advent of SMS, it's no longer an art. Okay, so it is just a means to convey. Okay, but now language is moving to the science. Okay, the frequency of letters, words, phrases, etc., can lead to automation of detections using computer technology. Automatic transliterators are available, which are freely downloadable. So for example, if you don't know Chinese, you can still read Chinese. How do I do that? Romanized Chinese. Okay. So every symbol in the Chinese character, the corresponding, pronunciation will be written in Roman. Okay. It's transliteration. So which means I can read any language using the Romanic script. Okay. And language parsers are also available. Okay. There are, once you have the Romanic transliterated text, you can parse them. And there are universal parsers available. Their performance is somewhat questionable, but that performance improvement is a different issue. Okay, so, and cross-language dictionaries are also becoming available. Chinese versus English, Sanskrit versus any language, and Tamil versus, you name everything. Okay, so using a set of cross-language dictionary and Romanic script, you can you can effect an automatic translation yourself. You don't have to depend on Google. Okay, so you can effect an automatic translation. Okay, and you can use the appropriate cross-language thesaurus as well. Not only dictionary, cross-language thesaurus as well. By the way, a side information, Amarakosam is the world's first thesaurus. It was developed in 4th century BC, some 2400 years ago. Okay, so several word sense disambiguation tools are also available. These are available for free. You can download them. And India's CDAC also has done pioneering work in language transliteration and also language translation of various Indian languages. Of course, the Stanford University Linguistic Group has done pioneering work on Chinese and Russian languages. Now, the Romanization part itself is not that easy. Okay, for example, here is a Chinese sentence which has been Romanized. It sounds gibberish, okay, because all the words are she. Okay, so that's a fact actually. The fact of this being gibberish was precisely the point, because Chinese has so many characters that sound the same. Homophones, they are called. And they are differentiated listener by the tone, how you say that. So by the way, Tamil is also very tonal language. Okay, so we don't realize it. Okay, but Chinese is the mother of all tonal language. Okay, so the way you pronounce a word makes a different meaning. So even though in this text it appears all the words are same, actually they are not. Okay, the way you pronounce each one of the words means that the words are actually different, and it is actually a meaningful one. So even the so-called process of Romanization is non-trivial, and but computer technology is now good enough to overcome many of these hurdles. Okay, so rich statistical parsing and literary language, the entire book is available, so you can download it. You don't have to go to the library. Okay, and natural language processing with Python, NLTK package you can download. Okay, so dialogue and conversation understanding is also a part of NLP. Siri, Alexa, they all do that. And how do they do that? They use hidden Markov model, Gaussian mixture model, and artificial networks, neural networks, and others. Okay, and automatically you can text to speech, speech to text, text to speech, speech to text. Both of them are available. Okay, and there are lots of source codes available in GitHub. Okay, so understanding headlines in the newspapers and articles is an initial attempt to identify content relevance and contextual humor. Okay, humor is a separate difficult task. Okay, now many companies have come out with these tasks. Top 9 NLP projects are these things. Okay. Transfer learning, okay, and transformers, okay. There are multilingual NLP, combining supervised, unsupervised learning, training models, automating customer service tagging, okay, and NLP for social media monitoring, detecting fake news and cyberbullying, and my own. Why not detection and generation of humor? And by the way, have you ever watched the movie The Bicentennial Man? It's a wonderful movie. You must watch it. Okay, it is downloadable. It is about 20-year-old movie, so I don't think you may get it in YouTube also. I don't know. It's a Bollywood-like movie, but there is a lot of AI in that movie. The original work was done by Isaac Asimov, who you might know as a science fiction author. So the Bicentennial Man talks about humor. You must watch this movie, a wonderful movie about AI and linguistics. Okay. Now, we in the past treated language as an art. We never put any tools on them. Okay, the English literature, or the English BA in English, MA in English, PhD in English, they were not using any of the computer tools. But the use of tools have actually changed the way in which we live. Okay, so technology, for example, bicycle increases the power of legs, car and plane increases the power of movement, exoskeleton, you can lift your using an exoskeleton, you can lift more weight. For example, ants without exoskeleton can lift 37 times their weight. We can't lift our own weight. Okay. Now, with the typewriter, fast increasing of text is now available. But in Japan, they never had typewriters because Japanese text, their symbols cannot be written in typewriters. So they invented Xeroxing, namely photocopying. So Americans didn't invent photocopying. It is Japanese who invented. And then the company sold it to Xerox. Okay, so now we have Xerox. Okay, so engineering enhances your capability, such as telephone, recorder, video, increased what? Communication. And they are independent of language independent technologies. Okay, but do arts people use technology? That is a question. So what is the equivalent of a bicycle or a typewriter or a photocopier in the arts domain? Okay, so it's a different kind of thinking. And that is where mathematics and computer science, computer engineering, software engineering, they come to play. A little side notes. Available corpora in Sanskrit is at least 100 times the size of those in Greek and Latin put together. Most of the current work is done in Greek, Latin, English, French, and German. All of them are Romanic languages, except Greek. Okay, but Sanskrit corpora is very, very rich. And Sanskrit corpora is richer in poetry than in prose, which is very interesting. Most of the Romanic corporas are rich in prose, okay, very few in poetry, whereas Sanskrit is opposite. Even the corpora in Sanskrit are well structured, okay, they are called sastrani, okay, unlike other languages. Wikipedia, like corpus structure, is unsuitable for Sanskrit corpora. Okay, Sanskrit is relatively easy to write a poetry than a prose. Okay, and lastly, in Sanskrit, word order is not important. So I can tell you, I can say that, I came to Chennai, or I can write Chennai came I too. Okay, so in any order you write, the meaning remains the same in Sanskrit. That's a unique part of Sanskrit language. So parsing will be both fun and pun. And next, we want to move as to how to make this language into an engineering task. How do we make it into an engineering task? Okay, so all the above 9 tasks deal with large data systems. So when you are talking about large data systems, so we are not talking about megabytes or gigabytes of text, even petabytes of text. We are talking about exabytes of text. Or corpus. Corpus size is exabytes. So they need to be engineered. How do you handle large corpus? Okay, they need to be engineered. So in engineering, there are some principles. They are called the KISS principles. Okay, so what is KISS principle? KISS means keep it stupidly simple. Okay, not the underline for the word stupidly. So engineers are very good in that, in using the KISS principles. Okay, so so each task has one set of input, one set of output. So I'm not going to read all of them, but suffice to say that engineers have devised the KISS principle. And can this be applied to arts? Of course, my point I'm trying to prove is that once you apply engineering principle to art, language is no longer an art, and therefore it is engineering. So that is where I'm trying to lead you to. Okay, so yes, I can. Okay, so and can we induct decision support? Besides, inducting the engineering principles, can I use decision support system, artificial intelligence, machine learning, automatic deduction techniques, etc., into language? And then I no longer call language as an art department thing, but it is now language engineering. Now it becomes an engineering thing. Okay. Yes, they would be useful in machine-to-machine translation, man-to-machine translation, and humor identification. And that will be interesting. How about man-to-alien interfacing? Okay. So machine-to-alien interfacing. That will be useful. We don't know what language aliens are going to speak. Definitely aliens are there, but we haven't seen them. We have not been in touch with them, at least officially. Okay, so because there are also developments happening in biomedical engineering. Okay, so artificial eye, artificial ears called cochlear implants. So one can envision eye-to-eye discussion during a face-to-face meeting. Already it is happening. Okay, heart pacemakers can call an ambulance. Already 50 patients are implanted with such a heart pacemaker. So heart pacemaker not only manages the heart, it has got a built-in wireless modem and GPS. So they can, if the heart undergoes a condition, okay, a change in condition, automatically a message is sent to the appropriate nearby cardiologist, and an ambulance pulls up and tells the patient that you are going to have a heart attack. Get into the ambulance. So it is now very different. Currently, you have a heart attack and the ambulance comes and picks you up, but it is now very different. It is, instead of reactive care, as is now, we are going to have proactive care. Okay. And that, by the way, has got a huge funding for human language technologies. Okay. So an example of an engineered language system. What can one glean from social networks? There are a variety of social networks, no problem. Okay, I think you have to ask your teenage kids. They probably will be using all of them and wasting their time. Okay, so this is a very interesting thing. Okay, in that social networks, their content and orientation is in practice not regulated. If you have a TV channel or a radio channel or anything that you broadcast, okay, there is a regulatory body and you have to abide by their ethics standards, whatever. Okay. In the case of teenage murders, for example, you can't reveal the name of the teenage kids. It's against the law. Okay. Whereas in the internet, where are such laws? There are no regulations. There are no regulatory body. There are no rules and regulations. Okay. So content and orientation is created by people by themselves. That is interesting. Whereas in the case of a radio or a TV or something, the content is created by a set of people, okay, or journalists or editors. So whereas in the case of internet, that is not the case. So people can write anything they want, okay. And so that is a serious problem. So how do you fix this problem is a different issue, okay. I'm just flagging it. Because of that, there are a lot of issues I'm going to get. That's why I'm flagging. So typical information available in social networks include your name, signature, all these kind of things. Okay. Now, social network sites can also describe all these kind of information. I leave the slides with you. I have to go in another 5 minutes. So sorry. So you can know about your ethnicity. Actually, even if you don't declare, I can glean such information. Okay. And your marriage status too. Oh yeah, I can glean the marriage status of most people, not by looking at their horoscope, but looking at their at the way in which they communicate with others. Okay. So various friendships I can identify, unwanted soliciting. Let me move on because I have a class I have to go. Many people have their iPhones or Android phone. Android phone has got about 50 odd sensors. iPhone has got about 70 odd sensors. So how many people know how to stop the sensors? Probably zero. Okay. So all these sensors are always on. So which means Apple and Android, they are collecting a lot of information about you without you knowing. Okay. And that leads to a lot of problems too. Okay. So Google was fined 60 million for misleading some Australian mobile users. Okay. So data is collected without you realizing. Okay. And here is Mr. X. Mr. X is in his underwear, undies. Okay. And do you know who Mr. X is? He's the chief of MI5. And what is MI5? MI5 is the equivalent of RAW in India. The Research and Analysis Wing in India is the external spying agency. And the MI5 is similar in UK. Now, how do the Sunday Sun got his photograph in his undies? Very simple. The MI5 chief went along with his family for a holiday in the Greek island, and his 4-year-old son took the photo and put it on. He took the MI5 chief has to carry his phone all the time. So this young kid, took daddy's phone and then took a photo and uploaded it in the son's own Facebook account. And guess what? It had the phone number. So a journalist from UK Sunday Sun got the details and published it. And he was arrested and he came out after 30 minutes after explaining how you got all the data. So you see how people are doing it. And there's a class action suit. There's a court case. Okay. 4 teens murdered a child in a shopping mall. All their names cannot be revealed because they were teens. The murderers were teens, and the child was less than 5 years old. Okay, so how did the case came to a fruition? Very simple. Somebody after 6 months located a photo taken from Google Earth, which is a satellite way above. And that showed clearly that the 4 teens are there near the shopping mall along with the toddler. So is this admissible? Okay, that's an interesting question. So the judge finally convicted the murderers, but without precedence. Okay, because using Google Earth's photograph, is it valid or not? So anyway, appeal is there. Okay, and there's a recent case of an Indian industrialist's son had a motor car accident and there were no proof of any nature. And whereas his GPS showed his location, car's built-in GPS showed his location, and he was arrested and put in jail. Is your bedroom private? I doubt it, because many people use Siri, Alexa, and many active products. And many people don't know how to turn them off or how to disable them. Okay. So all your conversations are being recorded and possible analysis can be done. Okay. Now, interestingly, through crowdsourcing, people get all the data about flights, which flight take off, which flight land, etc. So even President Trump, while he was in office, Air Force One's details were published, and along with other details. For example, how many minutes it was fueled. Okay, so they know the rate at which fuel goes. So which means how many liters of fuel actually were put in the plane. So then they know what is the range of the plane. Okay, so they then came out with the itinerary for Air Force One even before President Trump boarded the plane. And here is somebody publishing his itinerary or calculated itinerary in the internet. Is it legal or illegal? It is definitely legal. Okay, so you can also glean a lot about your bosses by understanding how he sends, or he or she, could be she as well, sends different emails, okay, and various messages. Is he a micromanager or a nano manager? Does he have a good vision? The verbiage and patterns of writing reveal their style of management and their style of leadership. Okay, alpha male bosses are easily identifiable. Okay, and similarly, bullies, harassers, ethical person with integrity are all can be identified. Okay, so let me just say that volume is a major problem, heterogeneity, mode, nature, they're all problems. And there are lots of different sub-nature. Okay, even if you take text, there are different kinds of text. Okay, and this is the process that we take one after another. Okay, let me skip this. So here is an actual software that we did. Here is a document, let us say, I don't want to read it because I'm having million documents per hour. I can't be reading it. Humans cannot be reading it. So it has to be done by a machine. So here is an automatic extractor, which will extract a name, date of birth, etc. How can I use this? Yes, I can use this. Okay, I can profile a person. I can profile a ship with shipping reports available in various places. And I can also understand the gazette. And from the gazette, I can figure out who is doing what, who your friends are. There is a famous saying in English, we know about a person by the company they keep. I know about you by the company you keep. So if I know all about your company, I can actually figure out who you are and what are your characteristics. Okay. Black Hawk Down is a movie. America lost special ops soldiers in Somalia. Could have been very well avoided had they done some simple computational linguistic processing. I won't tell you about this. So this is an actual software we did using component-based software engineering. So we did that for health intelligence. We collected a lot of data from public domain, populated the form, and did analytics based on that. By the way, this is not easy. Even date, there are 37 different ways to write a date. I will skip all these actual screenshot of the software. I have to rush. Okay, so I'm very sorry about it. This is, by the way, software has become very big. Now, we think that software is simple. Now, these days, softwares are running into billions of lines of code, and they can't be humanly managed by people. Okay, so you need tools for that. So this is a tool that we did for managing large software systems. Okay, so I mentioned this. So in short, I can answer all your questions. Okay. Now, this is a tongue-in-cheek. This talk was not developed by ChatGPT. And this is what is happening. Humans are hooked to their phones. Machines are learning. Okay. So any collaborators? So here it is. I have a task. I have an Excel file containing 2,200 Sanskrit dhatus or root words. I need somebody to help me. Okay. I also want to create a better than Wikipedia-like structure to hold Sanskrit corpus or Telugu corpus, Kannada corpus, Malayalam, Hindi corpus. Indian corpora is very huge. Nothing near Greek and Latin or Romanic corpora. Anyone willing to help, please help me. Let me stop here and I will give the thing to Mr. Mohan so that he can wind up. And if you have any questions, please direct them to me via email. Okay, I will answer them and pass on to Mr. Mohan so that Mohan can put it on the internet.
Yeah. Sir, you have some time to answer a few questions.
No, sir, I'm running late at the moment.
Okay, then yeah. In fact, the problem was because of the change of the clock
Correct.
timing. I think that was
Correct.
I think we didn't plan it. We didn't, or we are not aware of that change based on 21st March and things like that. So that's the reason. Normally we used to have this these discussions and webinars. They
Yep.
used to run till 8 o'clock. So
Yep.
obviously,
Yep.
it is the issue we had. So anyhow,
Yep.
let's wind up the program.
Hmm.
Kamalakkannan, can you take over?
Yes, sir.
The one thing is certain that the delivery of this lecture is an art. And I must congratulate you. It is not an engineering, not a science. It's a very one. It triggers many questions. And I shall write to you from Kolkata and you'll get some of the answers. Thank you very much.
By the way, robots are going to do the delivery too very soon.
Okay, so considering the shortage of time, let me quickly propose a vote of thanks. I think, sir, this is one of the most interesting, intriguing, intimidating, and scary talks. Okay, we have ever listened. So it was wonderful. You covered everything: the history of language, all the laws, and Shakespeare, Rowling. It was wonderful. So thank you very much for coming over to CSI, IEEE, Computer Society, and ACM's event. And in spite of the time paucity, you have addressed the topic very well. Though it is contentious, you sought collaboration in the end. It's very ironic. Okay, but once again, sir, thank you very much. We'll definitely be in touch with you. Maybe we will organize more talks in the future.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor. Yeah.